the opposite side of town than I was supposed to be at. And it was kind of a weird thing. I've talked about that in some of the Journey series. The design, particularly the symmetry of the white diagonal stripes, you falsely recall the red diagonal lines being centered perfectly within the white lines, whereas the actual design has the white stripes offset to represent Scotland and Ireland property. Okay, so I guess here's what they're talking about here, right? That these lines, see how these are offset, right? And so people remember them being perfectly symmetrical. And there's a different part of this here that, I'll show you the flag that is represented in this video. This is back when India was, part of this thing. So, but what they're saying here is, see how this offset here, there's more white here on this side and this side and this side. And so that's, they don't, and so people are misremembering this, but it's captured right here. And so they got this in India, so they would have had these flags in India. This was done, I think, in 1980, probably 1990, 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure when the video came out originally. I could look to see if it might even say it here in the description box. So this is supposed to be Lology, the first master. This is supposed to be a white British officer. Lology worked in the courtroom. And here's the flag. You can see it's perfectly symmetrical. This is the British office, as you say. And then see how it's thicker here in the middle? This thing is a little bit different here as well. So much for misremembering. I thought that was interesting. This thing, I had no idea, like this person just mentioned. So there's that. This video, again, is very immature. People are interested in, and it almost needs a lot of explanation in terms of the story. Most of us watching this already we're familiar with Lology's life. His birthday's on February 2nd. This video is today's February 2nd. I'm going to put this up tomorrow night on the 3rd. And there'll be no video on Wednesday, and I'll post something on my other channels on Wednesday. Apocalypse Now and Gratefulness Meditation. I'm putting stuff up every day together. But anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting side little thing to this. But you can clearly see the symmetrical nature of this flag here. So I tried to find out when this video was published, and I know that I saw it before the year 2000. Like I saw it in the 90s. So it was sometime in the 90s. I started in 1993, and it was published after that. Like it, was filmed. In terms of it being filmed, it was definitely filmed in the 1990s. And so they purchased these flags somewhere in India that had some of these old flag relics, and they have the symmetrical lines and sort of that thing in the middle that's a little bit thicker. I don't know. So again, this is all new to me, and I thought I'd just pass that on. And let's move on to the other stuff. Okay, to add to this, we've had this thing's called the hydrant. I called it a pump before, which is wrong. The pump is the thing that pumps the water into the hydrant. People might call this a faucet, but in terms of this particular thing is called the hydrant. And this one just fucking started gushing water. I said that we had a water problem when the snow and the freezing. Well, let me play this video clip here, and then I'll talk about it on the other side. Okay, so this what they call it the hydrant wasn't working because we had the water diverted to our greenhouse. So something happened. These things, we had one do this before, and these are old, they're probably 50 years old. And you can see the wires just flowing, so I just turned the water on for a brief period of time. We got like a little creek started here and going into this area. They're off all night, or there'd be a lot more water here. So it's kind of really been a bummer. The guy's coming in 2 days, since Monday. He's coming on Wednesday. Hopefully they can cap this off. We don't even need this thing here because it wasn't even working before. Cap it off underground. And, yeah, so hopefully that'll be done. So that's what's going on with us here. Okay, so just to add to this, the it was just ill timed. Like, I'm not sure if this thing, like I said, these things are 50 years old. We had one that went before, and the one that they replaced it with is like heavy duty. It's way better. It's probably more modern. I mean, they probably didn't have these. This is probably the best thing they had 50 years ago, and it's worth 30, 40, 50 years wherever they put it. There's another hydrant about 20 feet over to the left. I don't know why they put two out in the pasture. And we extended one closer to the barn and put one in the greenhouse. And this one was, they diverted water from it. But now water is coming out of it. And I don't know, the guy's going to come here and we'll find out about all that stuff. But the net fucking story here is it got so much worse yesterday. And the water pressure went down. So we're at risk of draining our fucking well. It gets replenished, these wells, but whatever. Like, it's not a great thing. And I think it's clogging up the filters to do it, so our water pressure's down. And we have been turning off the pump pretty much most of the day and all of the night. And we turn it on for a little bit and then turn it back off. And so we got that to deal with. It's interesting that we're doing this during what is like, basically a spiritual gathering here. Years ago, there was this guy that came to our house, and he came from Washington, D.C., and he grew up in India, and he liked the farm. He used to bring different people down. These were all Indians who grew up in rural area in India because they liked coming out to the farm, and they all lived in urban places in America. And he said that they had electricity for 2 hours every night between like 2 and 4 in the morning. And so the electricity would go on, everyone would wake up, and they had these bore wells where there would be like a cistern on top of the roof of the house. And, there's like these block houses, these like sort of rectangular houses with a flat roof, and they'd have a big, cistern, and they'd turn the water pump on and fill the cistern and do everything they need to do when they had electricity, and then go back to sleep, right? People have lived like that. I mean, electricity that we have, constant electricity, constant internet. When we get disruption in service, we're like, what the fuck? Trains that run on time, planes that run on time, like all these things. People don't live like that. Like, you go to these places, the train comes in 2 hours late. I mean, nothing is like, they live in a completely different level of efficiency and competence. And we're going to experience that. It's good to have something like this, because it hasn't been really that bad. I mean, it's more effort, certainly. It's nice to have running water. It's just a gift to have running water in your house. And running hot water is like an amazing thing, and we don't appreciate it. We just take it for granted. But anyways, I just wanted to add that stuff here. Let's get on to the other things. Okay, so Don Lemons was being celebrated. He didn't do anything at the Grammys, as far as I can tell. I'm not feeling it today anyway, but I got a few little updates. He went after the Epstein files. And I don't know if there's going to be anything to talk about in terms of TPUSK, probably. Right down this way. So I don't know if Candace is going to drop some new bullshit thing tonight. And I'm hoping not. And so I did want to look at Erica Cook's channel. I'm going to do that maybe tomorrow. She has her own YouTube channel. I don't know if she's going to post anything over there. I'm sure I'd be notified by my viewers here. But let's go to before we go down limits, let's just go around the mainstream media and see what they're saying about Epstein files, which is a fading story. There are some videos on it, there's not that many, and it's not popular, right? It's not the big story.
So let's go to the Epstein files. Friday's release of millions of pages related to Jeffrey Epstein provided a closer look at his connection to world elites from Hollywood to Washington, Wall Street, to Buckingham Palace and beyond, including many high-profile men who publicly claimed to be disgusted with the convicted sex offender and his close associate and fixer, Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's go through just some of the revelations. President Trump is mentioned more than 1,000 times in the newly released documents reflecting a long-standing social and business connection between the two men. Previous documents...
Well, see, like, the thing about this is, and I showed you this in my last video, I knew this in 2015. I covered this, just from that one quote. That one quote was undeniable that Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were associated. And Trump has been creepy about women and, all over the place since then. That's all you need to know. And, whatever dumb fuck Trumpers are willing to do to deny reality, that's whatever their thing is, right? But in terms of this thing I called the show, they are, there's videos and pictures of them together, lots of them, and a weird birthday message. I don't think Trump's going to get rung up by this thing, even though he's done everything he can to push back against it. He basically gave amnesty to Ghislaine Maxwell. He went, only one step away from just releasing her altogether and giving her a fucking pardon. Right? Like, that's how bad that is. And many of the girls, the victims are saying that she was worse than Jeffrey. Like, she was much worse than, threatening their lives and this horrible person. So she, groomed some of them and, did things with them sexually to prepare them for them servicing. Like, she trained these girls, right? I mean, most of the girls that have to deal with her think she's worse. So, Trump is undeniably a creep, and not just with this, with everything. Cheats on his wives, bangs porn stars. He's a scumbag. Admits to going into dressing rooms with these young girls and just totally, that's a form of sexual abuse in itself. So, and I think he's going to walk away from this thing because he's just all over the place doing all kinds of shit everywhere. It's like, you're such a demon and everyone kind of knows you're a demon except the people that worship you, right? And you just, after a while, nothing sticks, right?
Releases indicated Trump was listed as a passenger on Epstein's jet 8 times between 1993 and 1998. And now, the newly released documents include uncorroborated claims about Donald Trump. The White House, responding to the Miami Herald, referred to a statement on the DOJ website denying any credibility in the accusations against the president. Several other high-profile men are in the documents, including Peter Thiel, who in one of several emails was revealed to write, "That was fun. See you in 3 weeks." The context of the email exchange is unclear.